I mean, we're obviously interested in the non-corporate aspects.
Yeah.
Is that important to you?
Yeah. Well, I think, there's nothing, people, if you're buying from a farmer, your stuff hasn't been messed around with, basically.
Yeah.
You can just, if I went to shop in a supermarket, I don't trust supermarkets. I don't trust what they've done to the food I eat, and that's why I don't shop there. Whereas if you know your farmer and can visit them, you can trust them, that what they've done with your food, how they've supplied it to you. If you want less packaging on your food, generally there's very minimal packaging on the food you get. It hasn't been sprayed with chemicals. Even if you're buying semi-processed food, jams, chutneys, whatever, it's been produced in, as you would produce it at home. It's not, and I think, and obviously you're giving your money straight to the farmer. So again, where your money is being spent. Whereas if you're giving your money to a corporation, obviously it's going to shareholders and
it's being sucked out of communities straight away rather than staying in communities.
A
And
small farm will spend their money locally. They will buy off local businesses. They will employ local, workmen to do things. Your money stays in the local economy.
Well, this is exactly what I want to try and help coordinate. So, get the people who are involved with community energy schemes, get them buying their food from community-supported agriculture, and get the community-supported agriculture farmers involved with the community energy schemes, and workers' co-ops, housing co-ops, all the sort of community-style businesses. I'm just really interested in how to coordinate them so we can punch above our weight, our collective weight.
Yeah. Well, in Hastings, my friend runs a veg box scheme, and my other friend runs the community energy scheme, and they know each other. So when they were doing some community energy, I can't remember what it was, workshop, people got like a free veg box for taking part, or it was some survey or something, and you got a free veg box for.
That's the thing that really excites me. That's this cross-fertilization, this cross-pollination, and this, that's the kind of thing that really I'm interested in growing.
Yeah. Well, if we had a map, or if we could see where these other schemes were and saw where there were gaps in our map, so that, we could help those, because obviously the same sort of people who are involved in community energy schemes may want to start up a CSA.
Yeah, I would imagine, wouldn't you?
So, if there was a map that you could overlay on top of each other, showing where the gaps are.
Yeah. And it's not just community energy. There's, the whole non-corporate sector. This is why I want to sort of try and get you and other key people in other sectors of the non-corporate economy together, either physically together at some point, or even just on the blog, just read. Because Ollie Roker lives up the road from me now, and he came to dinner the other night, and he said, "Oh, I read your blog article of John Halley of Share Energy, the community energy scheme," and he said, "Oh, I read that, and that was very interesting." I said, "That's exactly what I'd like to happen. I'd like to get the key people to read each other's articles and just to try and work out somewhere that we could, coordinate and cooperate and build a whole new economy."
I think one of my bugbears is I have lots of socialist stroke anarchist friends, and they're always banging on about these things, and then they'll say something about shopping at supermarkets, and I'll be like, "Why are you shopping at supermarket? Why aren't you?" And it's one of my friends in particular, and his argument, he sees veg box schemes and organic as a kind of middle class do-gooders, only for the rich, like the farm. He also thinks that the farmers are rich, or that they're people who are just doing it as a little hobby
There's
farmers.
farmers, and some farmers are rich, but they're the big ones.
But they're not the organic vegetables.
No.
And he doesn't seem to understand, as far as he's concerned, people on low incomes have to shop in supermarkets, they don't have a choice. But it's like, if you can get the food to them in an affordable way, which you could, there's no reason for them to shop there. And also, it's just, if you're against, poor workers' rights, and not everyone. Then when I say this, everyone goes, "Oh well, people who work in the supermarket get minimum wage and get treated well." I'm like, I'm not talking about people who work in the supermarket. I'm talking about their suppliers. I'm talking about the workers on the farms, who grow the food to supply the supermarket, who are basically working for nothing in developing countries, being exposed to pesticides, having no rights.
The reason they get minimum wage is because the supermarkets are exploiting communities and consumers and their workers. They're sucking money out of all those groups.
Yeah.
So of course they're going to get minimum
wage. And the reason they're getting minimum wage is because they have to. It's a legal obligation. So
they get less. They get less if there was no minimum wage. Of course they would. They would pay the least they possibly could.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that as well. That's what you're saying is music to my ears, because that drives me insane as well. It's just
you just gotta and every time you mention anything about buying better, everyone's like, "Oh well, I can't afford to." I'm like, I'm a single parent on a very, very low income, and I can afford to.
Yeah.
And it's not because I do without other things.
It's a question of priorities, isn't it? My brother is a working class guy, and he says, I can't afford this kind of stuff, and his trainers cost 150 quid.
Yeah,
it's just
where you want to spend your money, and you can choose to spend it, on and I'm not saying people on low income shouldn't have mobile phones and other things, which is what Tory politicians say. Go, oh wow, they've got a mobile phone, blah blah blah, but they can't complain that it's unaffordable, because actually it is affordable. You just compare an avocado to, pint of beer.
Yeah, or a packet of cigarettes. I don't know how much a packet of cigarettes costs now, but it's a lot. And yet somehow that's affordable, and a veg box isn't affordable. It's just a question of priorities, isn't it?
But one of the schemes I'm trying to set up is to set up a CSA where all the members are experiencing food poverty and suffering from diet-related illnesses, so that they're all either referred by GPs or food banks, and that we give them free vegetables for a year and cooking classes and other support.
How do you afford that? Did you get funding for that?
We get funding for it, but in the long term, if we can prove that it saves the NHS money, or saves the council money, or saves someone else money, just by reducing the number of GP appointments. Each GP appointment costs £110. So you can give someone £200 worth of fruit and veg for a year, and especially with type 2 diabetes, intensive dietary change can basically reduce the drugs bill and all the other bills by so much. That
my partner works for the NHS, and she works with diabetes, so I'm going to put all about it. We also interviewed a GP.
Yeah,
it's on the non-corporate website. There was a blog article by a GP and he's saying exactly that. He's saying, it's for mental health. It's therapeutic to get people on farms. So, I mean, talking to you about CSA, I mean, he would be very interested in what you're saying as well.
It just makes sense, and it's just, if people can't afford it, just give it to them. Just give them the fruit and vegetables.
Yeah, but it has to be funded by. It has to be funded.
It has to be funded by someone, but for the people who are costing the NHS thousands of pounds every year, it will cost less. Fruit and vegetables. So, and most cancer specialists or cardiac specialists know that dietary change is the thing that will, make a difference. Well, not most. Some. Specialists.
Have a read of that blog article by the GP. That was quite interesting, and you'd be interested to talk to each other. So on the non-corporate aspect, now I won't write anything about this if you don't want me to.
No. You have to show me this before it's published.
Oh no, yeah, I'll send you the draft before we publish it. Abel and Cole.
Yeah.
they're sort of become the Tesco of the veg box world, haven't they?
Yeah, my view on them, well, I have various views on them. I've been told by people that they don't treat their suppliers that well, but I
I
don't know whether
imagine they
that's
don't,
true
because
or not.
they're competing. They're one of the big boys now, aren't they? That's
Yeah,
par for
so
the course.
in some ways they've done a good job because more people are eating organic because of them. And again, in certain areas where they set up, there wasn't an alternative, so there wasn't, people couldn't buy from a small local vegetable scheme. So it's better they buy from Abel and Cole, I would say, than they bought from a supermarket. I still think they're better than a supermarket. But also in people's minds, they think they're buying local veg and they're not buying local veg. But in their minds, they just think, people in London, because a lot of their customer base is London and South East, and they're like, oh, I get a local veg box from Avon and Cole. I'm like, well, not a local veg. So, I wouldn't mind if, people were, so I'd say, and the problem is that they've kind of harmed smaller schemes because they've offered people choice, which the smaller schemes didn't. People like choice and convenience, and their customer service is perfect. I have bought their boxes in the past. It's hard for small schemes to compete with that. So small schemes still lose customers to the big people, and but on the whole, I don't think they're a harmful entity.
Okay. And Riverford, I hear that Riverford is becoming employee owned,
Yeah, it's now worker owned.
which is fantastic.
Yeah, and again, they, a lot of their stuff isn't always local, and they do take customers off other box schemes, but generally they are doing the right thing. They buy from cooperatives generally. They're supporting. It just means that the whole concept of a box scheme has changed. So now, people again think they can get anything all year round. So they're less seasonal.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the problem. That's what customers want these days.
So. Sutton Community Farm, they're completely upfront about it. They say, look, we grow as much as we can, and then we'll go to other small farms in Devon or Kent or other parts of the country. But also sometimes we get bananas and oranges.
Yeah,
and we get those from small farms. We get those from small farms in Spain and
yeah.
various other
I think
places.
that's fair enough because people are going to eat those things and they have to get them from somewhere.
Yeah,
so they might as well get them from the box scheme than not get them and then go to the supermarket and buy them.
If it adds to their profits and helps them survive, then great. Yeah.
So I don't have a problem as long as people are clear about what they're buying and clear what's local and what isn't local.
Yeah, I don't know if you have an opinion on this. Well, if you're vegan, did you say?
Yeah.
Well, so I'm talking to smallholders. What do you? How hard is it? How much harder is it to be a smallholder without meat production?
I don't think it's harder. I mean, a lot of veg box schemes are just veg. It's actually hard, unless you know what you're doing, it's hard to do both. So I know of a lot of CSAs that thought, oh, I'll get a couple of goats or I'll get, and they don't know what they're doing. So it's actually,
Oh yeah, I
mean, they realise the amount of extra time it takes to look after livestock on top of everything else. So unless you've got the staff to do it, and again, it's a non-stop, you have to be there all the time. You can't go away. You have to get up early in the morning. So I think for those that want to have livestock, they've got to have someone who's, just there for the livestock. So I think a lot of vegetable schemes don't do both, and they don't need to do both. Generally, most of them aren't growing veganically. So most of them are getting in manure from somewhere, and a lot of them will get it from neighbouring farms. But there are a few that just use plant-based compost, wood chip mulch.
Yeah, that was the other thing. How difficult it would be to provide compost and provide organic matter without animals. It'd be quite hard, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean the ones that are doing it, like Tolhurst Organic is one of the best known ones, and they just use wood chip, but they must have enough kind of wood nearby that they've got enough land to let it all compost. So I suppose it all depends on how much access you have to that kind of material and enough land to make it. But it's the same with manure. You have to have access to farms nearby that will give it to you. So yeah, I don't know how much harder it is. I know most people don't do it, but I don't know if they don't do it just because they don't understand that much about growing that way, or whether it's just easier. But yeah, there's a few on the Vegan Organic Network. You can see all the members who are doing it that way.
Have you got any thoughts about how we might be able to coordinate? I mean, I'm not asking you to sort of big genius.
I think, you know, if all the key organisations talk to each other occasionally, we can organise a summit where all the non-corporate summit.
Yes, I'd love to do that.
But quite small scale, because I think when you have big scale events, you tend to like go to loads of workshops where there's too many people to talk to and you don't actually.
I talked to Ollie about this. I talked to Ollie about this and Matthew, and we were saying if we could get just one person from each sector, you know, like food, energy, and etc., and say just 15 people or something, and meet somewhere central, like for example Redfield, where I used to live. It's got a visitor centre and it's got a workshop and a classroom, and don't have an agenda. Don't break up into workshops, and don't have an agenda. Just because, you know, if you go to events, I find the most interesting conversations are the one you have in the pub after the event.
Yeah, that's what I would just do it as a dinner. Just all meet up for dinner or meet up in the pub and just get a room and just discuss how you could work together.
Oh, that's very interesting. Okay, well, I'll keep you up to speed on that. And so that's exactly what I'd like to do at some point. Maybe next year, just to get 15 key people, one from each sector, together, just brainstorm. Just don't have an agenda. Just brainstorm. So how can we coordinate to punch above our weight? Because we're all saying the same things. You know, it's all we want a different kind of economy. Do you know anybody else I could talk to in the food sector who would be, you know, on the same page?
Yeah. I mean, the main people we work with is like the Land Workers Alliance.
And Ollie, yeah.
Yeah, and he's ecological co-op as well. So, what other organisations? I mean, they're not all necessarily non-corporate because, again, if they're kind of large-scale growers, then they are quite corporate, sort of. I suppose.
Yeah, it's the non-corporate aspect I'm interested in. So building an economy which doesn't suck money out of communities to pay shareholders.
Yeah. I mean, all the big co-ops like Infinity Foods and Suma, and they're quite obviously big players in the market. And that.
But they wouldn't. Yeah.
And Julie from Growing Communities, I think if you talk to her about the better food traders.
I'm just writing this. I don't need to write it down. I'm recording you, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Julie from
Growing Communities.
Growing Communities. Julie, what's her surname?
Brown.
Oh yeah, I know her. I know Julie Brown. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, I'll talk to her. And yeah, I mean, I talked to Simon Fairley, and Dave King was somebody I just interviewed recently. He's into the technocracy. He's fighting against the technocracy, and they both said the same thing. They said, "Yeah, we completely support what we're doing with the non-corporate economy. Let's try and build it as big as we can." But they both said that there's something else is needed. And I said, "What?" And they said, "I don't know." But it's just something else. There's some magic ingredient missing. I was like, "Oh my God, what if we could find out what that is?" But I don't know. Maybe that's something we need to brainstorm about. All right, I can definitely make an article out of that. I'll make a really interesting article out of what we've talked about. At a later date, it might be nice to interview you again at some point, and everybody
Yeah,
else, and
yeah.
and this time to say something like, what would be your ideal situation as regards the food sector, but not like science fiction, not sort of completely unachievable, but what would be your ideal achievable situation with the food sector, and how might we take baby steps towards that, um,
Yeah.
or even huge strides towards that. Um,
Things, I don't think it's hard. I've been doing it. Yeah. But the problem is that most people don't cook for themselves most of the time.
okay.
So the problem with the food sector is the reliance on processed convenience food. You know, if that is most of your diet, which for most people, even people who eat healthily, a large proportion of their diet is still, you know, convenience food,
Yeah.
processed food in some way, then that will always be corporate. We won't always be corporate, but it will be mainly corporate because that's who controls, you know, supermarkets control people's diet and control the food system because they have persuaded people that they're too busy to cook, and that
Well,
it's,
a lot of people are too busy to cook, and they
well,
have
yeah,
to
they are, yeah. So
work their
until that
butts off.
changes,
Yeah.
you're always going to be reliant on buying in, you know, ready-made food, which doesn't, again, necessarily support the suppliers. I mean, a lot of people, you know, there are a lot of schemes that have decided to set up their own ready-made food things. So Tamar Grow Local,
Yeah.
they do lots of good stuff, but one of the things they're doing is kind of supplying meals because they recognise that some people do need meals prepared. But I think it's just, you just got to change what people are eating, because while they eat, you know, ready-made
Yeah,
everything.
yeah. Findus ready meals.
Yeah, you
So
know,
yeah, that's really interesting.
the amount of
Someone.
people who buy sandwiches, I'm like, why would you buy a sandwich?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But it's like, you know, if you're out at work all day, you've got 10 minutes for your lunch break, you go
Yeah.
out, buy a sandwich, buy a coffee, that's it. No.
So that's really interesting. So one of the first steps might be actually to teach people how to cook.
Yeah, yeah. I just think,
Uh,
you know, to change people's diets, it's fundamental. Because if they just decide to be healthier by buying processed healthy food, one, it's not that healthy, two, it's very expensive, three, it's overpackaged.
yeah,
You know, it doesn't actually make the world a better place just by changing your diet if you're just switching to.
yeah,
It's like when people become vegan and they just replace, you know, processed sausages with processed vegan sausages.
yeah,
You know, they're still full of, you know, not very nice ingredients and
yeah.
not that healthy and
Soya from Brazil,
overpackaged.
and yeah,
Well, it's generally not from Brazil, but
you know what I mean. Yeah, yeah.
um,
We had when I was living at Redfield, we had a couple of people join, and what we said to people in the membership process is like, we're not against veganism, but we eat meals together, so it's be really difficult if somebody becomes vegan. So we'd appreciate it if vegetarian is fine. Most of the meals are vegetarian, but not, we can't guarantee that it can be completely vegan. So this couple joined, and after they'd been living there for a few months, they turned vegan. And so we went next door and we got a bucket of raw milk from the dairy farm next door, and they wouldn't touch it. And they got soy milk, which was the and rice milk and stuff that was grown in the Philippines, transported to Los Angeles and packaged up, and then transported to the UK. It's like, you must be joking. It's like, anyway, yeah, that was quite a contentious thing.
yeah.
But
But again, there is, like, you know, I buy soy milk that's grown in France and packaged in
yeah,
France and comes here. So it's
yeah, yeah,
perfectly
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Most of the organic soya is European grown.
Is it?
Um,
Okay.
but I think, you know, we should be growing more pulses here and growing more grains here and processing those and buying our grains direct from farmers. And again, eating things that are whole grains rather than, you know, there's no reason that a vegan diet doesn't have to be as locally grown and
Yeah.
consumed. You know, people should be making their own oat milks at home. It's perfectly easy to make oat milk at home.
Is it?
Yeah, you just get some oats, soak them in water, whiz them up, drain them, oat milk.
That sounds pretty easy.
Yeah,
That sounds easier than having a cow.
yeah. So, you know, these things can all be done. It doesn't matter what diet you eat. What matters where the ingredients are from. So there's no one diet is more going to be more local and sustainable than the other, as long as the ingredients are grown and produced in the right way. So
So
yeah,
we've already got you on the non-corporate side as an advisor, as a general
yeah,
advisor for non-corporate. So yeah, so the site's new, so we haven't got a subscribe to the blog button yet. I'm talking to Dill this afternoon, trying to get him to put a subscribe to the blog button on there. So
yeah. Have
do
you got a Facebook page or anything to promote it as well, or is that too corporate?
yeah, exactly. That's a real problem. So low impact, which isn't focusing on on the non-corporate side, is focusing on the sustainability side. Low
Yeah,
impact has got a Facebook page. So when we blog on non-corporate, we promote it on
yeah,
the low impact, which is cheating, but you know
yeah,
that's where people are. So it's like I say it's like walking into Tesco's and giving out flyers about CSA. You know,
yeah,
it's but you got to go where people are.
yeah,
So do have a look on the blog and see if there's any, you know, look at the people that we're interviewing and see what you think. See if we can join some dots. And also, I think it's good to have these discussions in public rather
yeah.
than emailing each other. Let's have them on a blog, and we put them on the low impact blog as well.
Yeah, we'll get people to ask questions.
Yeah, yeah, please do. And let us know if there's anything new. If there's any news from your sector, let us know, and we'll blog that as well. And we'll try and
Well,
promote you.
we've got our AGM coming up soon, and we're having it in London at the. Have you heard of the We Feed the World exhibition? It's
No?
basically an exhibition of like farmers all around the world, and somehow they must have got loads of funding because they've basically got the Barge House in London for like a week and a half, and so they're letting other people do events there. So maybe we could have some sort of non-corporate workshop, seminar, presentation, something as part of our AGM.
Quite
As
possible.
we're looking for things that are not just CSA, that all just because we don't want just CSAs to come, we want, you know, lots of different people to come.